Hey, hello, I'm JulieJo. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're not new here, welcome back. And I chopped my hair off. Today we're going to be looking at someone that is an all-time favorite, to be honest. There's something very peculiar that I am seeing in Kelsey Rhae's content, and that is this idea of moving into more of like a Christian, holier than thou type of influencer. So going from, and I've seen this a lot, not just with MLM, but going from this idea of like MLM boss babe to losing everything to Christian influencer to try to get this kind of reboot, this rebrand. And other people who are not MLM boss babes have done this, like Brittany Dawn and plenty of others that I actually want to cover in a video and talk about more in depth. But right now, I want to look at Kelsey Rhae and see what's going on, because this is something that I have noticed. And I want to take a little deep dive into why that is. If you'd like to support the channel for free, you can simply hit the subscribe and the like button. If you want to get notified when I post or when I go live, you are welcome to hit the bell button. All right, let's get started.
I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin, cause we're still sleeping in my head. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin, cause we're still sleeping in my head.
Okay, so I've seen it in her reels pretty consistently, and I want to talk about them. We're going to watch it. Some we're going to watch because it's just music. We're going to watch this one. We're going to read it. If for some reason you don't hear the sound very well, it's because we had to, aka Ava, had to do some voice isolation and audio stuff. So it won't get a copyright issue, but I'm going to let this play so that you can hear what the pastor is saying and see her reaction if you're able to watch a screen. If not, what the pastor is saying is enough. And then we're going to look at what she said in the caption, because I feel like that's a pretty big deal in this situation. So let's watch.
Religion tries to change man from the outside in. Jesus changes people from the inside out. That's why you should stop hating on the prostitute who's now coming to church. And stop hating on the dude who's smoking weed and now coming to church. And stop hating on the person that's cursing who's not coming to church. You trying to put your laws and man-made regulations on them. Come to church and curse. Come to church and get back on the pole tomorrow. Let God work in her heart, his heart, until their behavior change. Come on, man. That's what it is. He didn't tell nobody, get your life right, then come to me. He never said that. Fix your life. Get out the club. Stop smoking. Stop drinking. Fix your sexual identity. He never said that. You. So why are you slapping all of that to them? He just got saved last week, and you gave him 20 laws he got to abide by.
All right, so it says on her video, not the caption, just what she's posted along with her face and lots of tears and crying. Well, not lots of tears, but crying. She says, if this is the type of Christian you are, please unfollow me. So ultimately, if you are a judgmental Christian who guilts people and shames people, which is very interesting because we've had lots of conversation over Kelsey Rhae before on this channel, that she is all of those things, which I just thought was an interesting point that she wrote right there. So let's now look at this caption. It says, he just got baptized yesterday, and today you're giving him 20 laws he's got to abide by. This is one of the biggest reasons more people won't come to Christ, because of people like this. Kelsey, quick pause. People like you really are part of the reason as well. This idea of like, you're losing momentum, you're being seen as a scammer. And you said it several times. You're like, I'm not a scammer. If you see me as a scammer, then you're just ignorant, then you're blah, blah, blah. She knows that people see her that way. You are also part of the issue. Fun fact. And also, people don't want to be a part of organized religion because they see what it's done to the world. Some do. Some enjoy it. Some people need it for their sanity, and that's totally fine. But I do think that there is a line that has been crossed one too many times for these newer generations that is making Christianity a lot less popular, and religion in general. Continuing. I'm not perfect, and God knows that. That's why he's using me. Some of y'all Christians got to stop doing this to people. Trying to point the finger when you see someone isn't perfect, but claims to follow God. You can follow God and get to know Jesus while healing. That is healing. You can't shift overnight to become perfect at everything. What's important is that you're trying. If you see this, please know that you don't have to be perfect to come to him. He wants all your mess. He wants to guide you and heal you. He just wants you to surrender to him and know he can fix everything. If you needed this, type amen. It is interesting that she says this, because in this situation, let's say I'm in organized religion. Would I agree with her? Yes. Obviously, Jesus hung out with the tax collectors. Jesus hung out with the people that were bottom barrel in religious society for a reason. But when it comes to Kelsey Rhae, the manipulation and using your religion, this like religious manipulation, has to do with the idea that you cannot judge her even though she's actively doing something wrong. I think a lot of that actually depends on what's going on, what the person is doing wrong. If you're actively scamming and being fraudulent and deceptive, I think it is okay to judge, call out, and say, like, this is not okay. You need to stop. But for her in this situation, she's going, you're judgmental. You're not the type of Christian that should be whatever. Like, you're not the type of Christian that you should be. You need to be like this. It's like, well, no, I am calling you out. By the way, I'm not a Christian, but I know people who've called her out. Some are. I'm calling you out simply because what you're doing is a net negative for society and wrong. You are impacting and hurting other people. And that's where the line is for me. If you're hurting yourself with what you're doing, if what you're doing is affecting you personally, I mean, obviously there's important conversation there, but when you are actively hurting others to benefit yourself, you are the worst type of Christian. Let me rephrase that. When you are hurting others to benefit yourself and act like it is the other person's problem, in the sense that you don't get to say this about me, you don't get to judge me, you don't get to whatever, you don't get to call me out for it. If so, then you're not the type of Christian you should be. That is a wonderful example of hypocrisy, deception, and manipulation, all in one. And bringing the tears to the stage to perform in this way is excruciatingly annoying. I don't care that she's sad or feeling this way. Even if it's genuine, she's gotten to the point where I don't believe her. I don't believe it. She can say and do whatever. I won't believe her until her actions change. And so this is what I'm noticing in her content is she's starting to pull a Brittany Dawn. While Brittany Dawn was outed in a much larger way, I think not only has she been outed several times in a smaller way, TikTok was pretty big, but she's also losing the momentum and losing money. So what she's trying to do is to tap into religion and get those people who are firm believers to think that, oh my gosh, she's taking accountability, or oh my gosh, she's someone I want to follow, she believes in Jesus, or oh my gosh this, or oh my gosh that. And also taking other people who are more morally gray, struggling with this idea that they're not a perfect Christian and that she is relatable. But she's not. Her imperfection in Christianity is not damaging her. It's hurting other people. So that's one. Let's move to another. And so there's not going to be any music. I'm just going to show you a quick glimpse while I'm talking right now. Staying silent and giving it to God because I've told the wrong people how I feel too many times, and he's the only one who's never made me feel ignored. Her caption says, lately I've been quiet, not because I don't have anything to say, but because I've said too much to the wrong people. I've shared my heart with those who didn't value it, and it left me feeling drained and unheard. So now I'm giving it to God because he's never made me feel ignored. If you're in your silent season 2, just know you're not alone. God sees what they miss. So it's just another example of not only is she taking on this idea of like staying silent, giving it to God, which she's really not. She's now in her caption doing calls to action for people, which oftentimes will make people in religion feel as though she's been called to say this, almost like she's stepping into this teacher or influencer role. And that's what I'm seeing her doing here. She's starting to give that Christian influencer who's buckling in and like really working on a relationship with God, and simply like, if you're in the silent season 2, just know you're not alone. Like relate. And that becomes dangerous because people start to look up to that. We're going to watch this reel that goes before this. So these are all in a row, starting from the end to the beginning. She's giving off this influencer, learn from me, relate vibe. And it's going to draw people in, especially with her talking about God. So this is the one before her workout video.
It's not a question, it's a fact. You will outgrow people in your life if you're growing. If you're staying stagnant, you're going to have the same people in your life that you've always had in your life. And that's a big indicator, actually, that you're not growing, because people are in your life for a reason, for a lesson, for a season, not always for a lifetime. Your kids are there for a lifetime, right? Maybe your family, your parents' family, but not everybody that comes into your life is meant to be there forever. And if you can accept this, if you can be like, okay, I realize this person, there's friction here, it's not working. I realize that God's trying to remove this person from my life because they were not meant to be in my life forever. They were meant to be here for a season, for a lesson, to teach me a lesson. And now, if you learn the lesson, let them go, you'll notice that your life will be so much more in flow. You're not going to be stressing out or like wondering or asking God for signs. God's giving you signs. He's telling you exactly what needs to happen, but you're not listening because you don't want to let go of, you got to let go of the comfort in order to grow.
I mean, is this like a pretty normal general thing? Is this new? No. What she's saying, her statements are not new. These are things that people know. However, what she's doing is setting this relation in tension. She's trying to get people to listen and go, yes. Yes, that's good. And she's talking about God. Yes, that's good. I see people like her who step into this Christian influencer role, try to build this relationship. They're not focusing on necessarily prove it, the company, the products. What they're doing is they're trying to relate, trying to make this fake friendship or this fake leadership role that people can look, listen, and learn from her. And then when she needs them for her benefit, when she needs them for money, when she needs them to build her downline, when she needs them for this, she will slip that in, take advantage of the trust that she's built with them, and use them. She says in her caption, and man, she wrote it wrong, and man does it hurt. She said, and man does hurt. And man does it hurt, but that hurt is on purpose so that you can become who you're meant to be. Don't live your life avoiding the pain, because you'll live a life that's not worth living. If you needed this, drop a praise hands emoji. This one says, a message to the devil. It says, if you remember the version of me that bragged about only seeing my kids 3 hours a day, sound off, because you stayed with me, and thank you. What a journey it's been, becoming a better mother. It was a choice I made to be away from them so much. And looking back, I can't think of any other reason that would have felt okay. So first off, she's making people think that them having to go to work is a choice. Making people think them having to build a life for their family through work is a choice, when they could be home with their family and still build a life. That's not true necessarily, especially because what she's doing is trying to make people think that her ability to do that was because of prove it. It wasn't because of prove it. It was because she has no morals or ethics, and professionally she's totally fine hurting people by getting them to join her downline so that she can benefit. Continuing, and looking back, I can't think of any other reason that would have felt okay, except the enemy convincing me it was. But I see it now. Your babies need you, and you need God. Again, with this idea of, you need this. She's a leader. You need this. She's an influencer. She's giving this, like, you cannot miss this FOMO, you're doing it because of the devil. And when someone tells you that in religion, even if you don't necessarily believe them, you have this fear of Satan. I'm not even going to go into that. You have this fear of Satan. And when someone says it, even if you don't necessarily believe it, you take it and you think about it. It's gonna haunt you a little bit. At least that's what I see often. Continuing, we were meant to be with our children, not just raise them, but walk with them, guide them, and grow with them. It was never supposed to feel unbearable, but this world, this system, it's set up to make it that way. From the food that makes our kids act wild, to the rising cost of living that makes it feel impossible to survive on one income, I get it, it's hard, but God didn't create the babies to be handed off. He gave them to you. And there's power in reclaiming that. You are so capable. Send this to a mama who needs it today. Prayer hands. I am so excited to read what y'all have to say about this, because I know a lot of people who watch me are mothers and do work. When I was growing up and my mom worked, I just saw it as something that was, especially when she was going through like a really difficult divorce with my dad, and like my brother and I were having health issues and all of this stuff. I don't know how she did it, but I truly see a strength in her that I don't in many people, And I wouldn't have noticed it. Wouldn't have this certain respect for her if I didn't see her having to work a full-time job, raise 2 kids. I mean, the system should have helped her. There should be more help out there, especially for single mothers and postpartum mothers, but there's not. And so she had to do this. She had to grab them by her bootstraps and do it, sadly. And she did not have a support system, and yet she did it. And I have the utmost respect for her in that way, and know that she did it all for my brother and I. Do I wish she could have had a different life? Yes, I do. I wish it could have been easier. I wish she could have enjoyed that more. But I have so much respect for what she did, and it wasn't a choice for her. She had to do it. She had to work, because if not, she would lose it all. So I just think that this is so tone deaf. I think that this is she should be ashamed of saying something like this while she's making it look like God is saying it through her. That's not true. It's the fact that she's desperate for your money, and she's going to use God, use religion, use motherhood to manipulate you into purchasing from her. Anyway, now we're going to look at the screenshots from this. A message to the devil. You really had me thinking. You really had me thinking that my kids were better off at school or with a nanny 8 hours a day, and that I wasn't capable of being a mother to them full time, and that making money was more important than being a mother, and that I couldn't do both, but God told me, ... that he made me for this, to be a present, loving mother and a fierce woman of leadership. So there she's just coming out saying she's a leader. So I just want to let you know that you didn't win this one, buddy. And at this point, she's just filming her daughter eating in the car. That's the rest of this. Okay, so this is her next reel. Before that reel, it says, God, we got dust on our Bibles and brand new iPhones and wonder why we feel so drained, lost, confused on which way to go. The video itself is just her singing to a Christian song. That's it. And she says in her caption, I used to think the Bible was just a man-made book, something written by people trying to control others, outdated, irrelevant, not for me. So I ran to the universe, vibes, crystals, positive energy. But the deeper I got into that world, the more lost I felt, until one day I opened a Bible and everything started making sense. It wasn't rules, it was a roadmap, not written by man, but through man, by the Spirit of God. The very thing I used to reject was the exact thing my soul had been craving all along. And now I open it every single night, and without fail, God meets me right where I am at. If you're drained, confused, or just searching for something real, maybe it's time to wipe the dust off yours too. Drop a prayer hands if you've been watching my stories, or if you're ready to start your own journey. Let's grow in truth together. So that's really her first big call to action. I'm a Christian. This is what's happening, and I want you to come along. So now I want to go back through what we just looked at. You have that one, and the next one is the message to the devil. The next one after that is the one where she says, and man, does it hurt? But that hurt is on purpose so that you can become who you're meant to be. Pretty much saying, like, you're going through all of this because God wants you to do something or change something. Saying you outgrow people, you're meant to move forward. So again, doing this idea of teaching, relating, having people want to watch more of her videos, having people feel better about themselves. So it's like, teach, a message to the devil. This is what the devil is telling me. This is what God's done. Teach. And then here we have the gym where she's staying silent, giving it to God, doing her business, moving on, doing better in life, building, things of that nature. We have the next one, the crying. If this is the type of Christian you are, unfollow me. So by this point, she's already trying to be a Christian influencer, but people are calling her out. In my opinion, when I see this one as one of the last ones, she's coming to this conclusion where people have been judging her for being a fraud and a scammer. She doesn't like it. So she's like, if you're one of those Christians, that's bad. You're bad. Unfollow me. No one wants to be this way. This is not what God wants you to be. So essentially trying to make them look like the bad Christian, trying to make them look like the terrible judgmental people, when in reality it's her. And then we're back pretty much to the beginning of her reels. So I've seen this over time. She started to mention God in some of the videos that we've covered. She started to say God this, God that. And now I think she's really stepping into this idea of being a Christian influencer, getting followers that way by being someone that relates and is a leadership in being a quote unquote Christian and how to do it. And then manipulating them and deceiving them in a way that allows her to make a profit from them. This is something I've seen several times. I think I've said that several times in this video, and it's something I want to talk about more, want to cover more from other influencers who have done this. And I think there's someone in the Bible that was the first to do it. Okay, I think, and maybe not the first, but to me the first. And I want to talk about that as well later on. But I thought it was important to start here to show you I've been able to watch Kelsey Rhae transform from this like vibey type of person scammer to this like holier than thou Christian scammer. And it is quite an interesting trip I've been on watching this for a few years. And I want to know your thoughts. Are there people that you've seen do this before? It could be anyone in any way, shape, or form. We know Brittany Dawn is one of them. Wasn't in an MLM, but was found out to be a fraud and a scammer, and is now transformed into this Christian influencer and now Christian mother influencer, which is even a worse layer to add on to that. Who else do you see? And what are your thoughts on this situation? I would love to know them. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel for free because you enjoyed the video or you like what I do or whatever, or you're feeling generous, just hit the subscribe button and the like button. And there is a monetary option if you want to be a member, but you don't have to. I'm also an affiliate for Liquid IV. So if you are curious about what that is or you use it and you want a discount code, look down below. Thank you so much for being here again. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you next time. Bye.
Show you what I'm all about. Make up for what we lost. Tonight is the night that we're gonna fall in love. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about yours.